Welcome to My Weekly Mixtape, a podcast that takes the classic mixtape approach to building a modern playlist. I'm your host, Brian Colburn. Joining me for tonight's collaboration is longtime friend Doug Miller, DJ for Elite Sound Entertainment, one of New Jersey's premier DJ and entertainment companies. Doug, welcome back, man.
Hey, Brian, it's good to be here, brother, as always. Can't wait to get this list going, man. I'm excited.
Same here. And the last time you were here, way back on episode 22, it's been a long time, we talked about the year in hip-hop for 1993. But tonight, we're going to move away from rap and hip-hop and focus on 90s club and dance anthems. With all your years of DJing, everything from clubs to house parties to weddings, what were you looking for in the songs you brought to the mix tonight?
Well, it was a feeling that I found when I was younger. That's basically what I was looking for. My uncle used to own nightclubs. And one day, this young guy walks in and everybody goes crazy. It was one of the first openings, they invite the family and stuff like that for like a soft opening. And everybody went nuts. And I was like, who is that? Oh, that's Fatboy. That's the DJ. I was like, what's the DJ? Like, I didn't know what this was. This wasn't a career day. They had like plumber and fireman. Yeah. So This guy's like, you show up to a party, all the guys like you, all the girls like you, and then they give you money? That's a thing? Okay. So I started following him around, carrying his crates, so on and so forth. But I remember that look on people's face when a certain song hits and they just go, oh, like that's my song, And I would see it for my parents' generation, like when sound would work and stuff. So I wanted to bring that to people my age. And when I did it, that's the first thing I would look for. What songs make me go like that? So when I'm either behind the table and I want to play something, then it's going to get that reaction. Or when I'm out there in the crowd and I hear a song and it goes, it's perfectly timed. That's right where that song should be played. And somebody plays it. I'm looking for songs that did that to people almost no matter where you play them in the night.
I am sure this is going to be one of those instances where I was definitely somebody that went to a lot of clubs in the 90s, but I was also going to a lot of rock clubs and concerts at the time. So it was a lot less than, let's say, the people that were going clubbing every weekend. So I consider myself to be more of a novice in this category and more of the mainstream guy. And I'm actually looking for you tonight to pull out some deeper bangers that could really get people's eyebrows raised.
Yeah, I got a few. I got a few in there. I took it a little light. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's such a big scene. You can go mainstream club as far as, stuff you're going to find in Jersey, things like that. Songs that'll probably also cross over and make radio hits. And then there's a whole nother scene there. I mean, going to places like the Limelight, the Tunnel, Sound Factory, things like that. There's songs that are they're so deep cuts and they're so great. But, obviously a lot of the public wouldn't know it unless you were in that kind of life. It's a lot harder to distinguish DJs from singers and bands, because there's certain styles of songs that people make that are kind of their niche in that club scene. And, in a band, you hear somebody's voice and you go, oh, that's Soundgarden. Oh, that's Metallica, and it's very easy to kind of distinguish them that way. Whereas, with this music, you kind of have to be into that scene to get the difference in a lot of them.
Well, let's get down to business. Tonight, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Doug and I will be curating a 90s club and dance anthems mixtape, and we're going to use the old cassette deck approach. Doug, as my special guest, will begin side A with his first song choice, and then I'll add a track that I feel best follows up that choice. We'll then flip-flop choosing songs until we've mapped out 10 songs for side A. We'll then give our mixtape a proverbial flip, and we'll map out side B, only this time I'll kick things off with Doug choosing second. Our overall goal for this episode is to craft the best 90s club and dance anthems mixtape possible through only 20 songs. At the end of the show, you can take our conversation to the next level by visiting the episode page at myweeklymixtape.com to give our final mixtape a listen via the embedded playlist. And if you like what you're hearing on the show, you can help me out by either telling a friend, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a Patreon mixtaper at patreon.com/myweeklymixtape. There you can enjoy ad-free episodes of the show, become a future guest, and so much more. And a few of the Patreon mixtapers chimed in with songs that they would use to kick off a 90s club and dance anthems mixtape, and it's time to let their voices be heard. Well, their thoughts, my voice. I digress. Philip Bergman chimed in saying that this topic is cool conversation fodder because in the decade that followed, different remixes really affected how much you liked the song, and you even saw that a bit in the late 90s. But with that said, he would kick things off with Amber's This Is Your Night or London Beats' I've Been Thinking About You. Chad Lamassa chimed in saying you can go in multiple directions with this topic, being techno or just radio hits that possibly were played in clubs. And for the techno side of things, he's going with Alpha Team's Speed Racer remix, the dirty version. And for the club side of things, he's going with CNC Music Factory's Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now. And Tom Hutchinson chimed in saying Hadaway's What Is Love has to make this list and mentions how the Night at the Roxbury skit made that song infamous. He also chimed in with Fatboy Slim's Effing in Heaven. Once again, if you'd like to join the Patreon Mixtaper family and chime in future episodes, please visit patreon.com/myweeklymixtape. Now, with that said, Doug, I'm officially going to press the record button on our mixtape and turn the mic over to you. Why don't you tell us why you're kicking off your 90s club and dance anthems playlist with the Macarena?
Well, I mean, what other way are you going to get a party started? You know, it's universal. Who doesn't love that dance? If I'm going to start a mixtape for 90s dance anthems, I got to go with this song first. This song is by a New Jersey group. Came out in 92. I remember going to boys club dances, and the minute you heard this, you knew the party was started. This song is called Follow Me by Elias, 1992's Strictly Rhythm is the label, dance anthem. This song was a moving beat. It had a melodic sound, almost like it was composed as opposed to what you would, at that time, think of a dance song being made, I guess, with the computer, so to speak, you know, as opposed to instrumentally. But it just was a beautiful, beautiful sound. The beat was moving. It had words and lyrics, which were actually, you know, on some more peaceful stuff where like a unifying kind of song, everybody could vibe to it. And it's just a great party starter. Everybody knows it. The way he sings that melody is just infectious. And that's definitely my starter for number one.
Starting with some deep house. I like where you're going here. Not messing around. This is an underrated song to kick things off with. It only reached number 8 on Billboard's Club Songs chart. It never hit a top 100. So this is definitely one that got a lot of love around the New Jersey, New York club scene. But maybe the rest of the country, this might be a brand new, quote unquote, 90s dance track.
I think it's a good way to spread kind of music that doesn't necessarily chart commercially well, but charts with the people. I think of it like the movie Boondock Saints.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it came out and went overlooked by everybody, and then 10 years later, everybody's loving it, becomes a cult classic. It's because it's panned critically, but then when the people get their hands on it, they're like, that's exactly what we were looking for.
Well, I'm going to follow it up, and I'm going to stay kind of in this house vibe, but I'm going to introduce a little bit more of the club element, a little bit more of the European side of things. And this is a song that came out, I want to say it was the same year as Follow Me. This was 1992. Yeah, this was the same year. And I'm going to go off the Madman's Return, and I'm going to go with Snap's Rhythm is a Dancer. This brings that European, almost Eurodance vibe to it. This was a massive hit. It reached number 5 on the US Billboard Hot 100, and VH1 ranked it number 36 on their 100 Greatest Dance Songs. Now, Snap, I could have easily went with The Power, but the more I thought about coming out of Follow Me, The Power would have given you that stadium anthem vibe, whereas Rhythm is a Dancer brings you much more into that club dance vibe. Even though Rhythm is a Dancer is used in stadiums, it doesn't have the same impact and isn't as universally connected to sports as The Power is. So I think following the Follow Me vibe, Snap's Rhythm is a Dancer is going to bring you there.
I think it's a great pick. Snap's The Power is a cool song, but it's definitely in its own little box. Like, you know, it's very forceful with the vocals. It's kind of reminds me of like that movie King of New York.
Mhm.
You know, that kind of part of the 90s right there where people are mixing that kind of version of hip hop R&B a little bit with club, and they kind of did it. Just the song is aptly named. It's a very powerful, straightforward song. Rhythm is a Dancer, on the other hand, the vocals on that are amazing. She's just absolutely blowing it down. You can tell it's like a powerhouse voice, and I think that's part of the mystique of the song. And there's some of my lists that are just like that, where you have this upbeat kind of vibe, you know, like almost like you said, the Euro sound, and then somebody just comes in with a beautiful voice and she's just unloading on the song. I think that that's a huge hit, and it's a great, great number 2. Huge song at that time.
And another thing I love about Rhythm is a Dancer, sonically, if you listen to that song with a good set of headphones, you could be by yourself and catch a vibe with it, because it's really telling you a story musically with all the instruments. There's such a great separation. And I know a lot of people like to downplay club and dance music because of the quote unquote laptops aren't instruments argument, but there's a lot going on musically and sonically in this song. And I think a lot of the ones I chose tonight kind of follow that vibe where there's a lot of music happening. It's not just a single beat doing the 4 on the floor over and over again the whole time with not much happening, like that kind of deep trance house music that I think is kind of stigmatized in the club scene.
Very much so. Very much so. I think it's got huge crossover appeal, which is what brings songs like this to light. And also, you know, in some cases, transitions them into, like you said, being used in stadiums, being used for sports. You know, people now use their songs on commercials and stuff that you would not have seen in the 90s. They would never have a house song on a TV commercial in the 90s. But
Right.
nowadays, you're hearing all these songs be revamped and popped into TV commercials because they've just grown so much that everybody knows them. And also corporate media and stuff like that are catching on to the vibe that it creates. And it doesn't have to be a quote unquote traditional song to do that.
All right. Well, what are you following up Rhythm is a Dancer with?
Okay. Well, if we're going to do songs with female vocalists who create a vibe, I'm going to jump back to one of my favorite female vocalists from the 90s who creates a vibe. We're going to go with Miss Crystal Waters' 100% Pure Love. Song came out in 94, it went gold, and actually the production team hated the first version. So the hook came to them, and it was called The Beat Goes Boom, was what it was based around, basically. And they told her, we don't like anything about that. We like the song and the verses, but we don't like the hook. It just doesn't vibe. So she went back and thought about why she was making the record. And at the time, she said it was almost like an answer to the gangster rap movement.
Okay.
There was a lot of animosity and angst in 90s music, whether it was rock, hip hop, no matter what it was. And she wanted to unharsh the vibe, I guess, is the best way to put it, and send out a little bit of positivity into the world. So she started thinking about what she was writing the song for, the reasons why. And that's where she stumbled into From the Back to the Middle and Around Again. I'm going to be here till the end. 100% Pure Love.
Massive, massive hit here. This one hit number 11 on the Billboard US Hot 100 and obviously topped the dance club charts. This was a massive song, a massive video, and had so much of a crossover effect. You would hear it on, at least in New York at the time, WKTU was kind of the club and dance station. But you also heard that on Z100, which was your top 40 station, as well as 95.5, which was a little bit more of your, I don't want to say adult contemporary, but it was a mix of
your
modern
parents' radio station.
Yeah, it was our parents' radio station back in the 90s. Yeah. And it made waves on all three stations at the same time. That's how you know you've got something that's got a crossover appeal.
There's songs that just do that where almost for the most part, unless obviously if a radio station is dedicated strictly to a sound, like I'm a country station, you know, you're not going to play that on a cut. But there's songs that just, hey, this is too good. We can't not play this song, you know, because people are listening to whoever is playing this song. And this is one of them.
Well, definitely, I know exactly where I'm going right out of Crystal Waters. We're going to keep that female vibe going. And I'm going to for the second time tonight, stick with 1992. Apparently, 1992 was the year that we were going to, want to say it was Bam Bam's in Lyndhurst.
The Music Factory, baby.
Music Factory as well. These were
spot.
songs that were playing all the time. And this one, I vividly remember being played in the same evening as 100% Pure Love. And it's kind of along the same vibe. It's the title track from her 1992 album, CeCe Peniston's Finally, reached number 5 on the Billboard US Hot 100, and just like 100% Pure Love, topped the US dance club songs and dance single sales charts. This one was everywhere for such a long part of that year. VH1 ranked it number 29 of their 100 greatest dance songs, and Billboard included it, this is interesting, on their best pop songs of all time, completely bypassing the club and dance scene and lumping it in with just pure pop music, which I think is an interesting take on this one. Her voice is ridiculous. The high notes she hits in this chorus are insane. There's a gravel to it, but it's still smooth to fit on the dance track. But she almost has this, dare I use, Whitney-esque appearance to her voice, where she's hitting runs in the chorus that remind me of Whitney Houston with a little bit more of that club techno beat underneath. So I think 100% Pure Love and Finally back to back is kind of a home run here.
I think so too. To me, it's an injustice that's ranked at that low even on some of those lists. I think that a lot of those lists are done based off commercial success as opposed to the quality of the song. I would much prefer, not to be a homer, but a list from people like us or a podcast, like some of the ones that we're both friends with that do music, from people that actually are doing it because of the quality of the song as opposed to how well it did commercially or how recognizable it is, so to speak. I think that it's a phenomenal song, and I think it's a great lane for wonderful singers like her, because when you do more of the pop or R&B, people are going to judge everything. They're going to look at her and say, does she look like Beyonce, or does she look like Whitney, or whoever it may be? Do you have the appeal that way? Do you have the sound that I want for your R&B song, and how catchy is it, but how emotional? Whereas songs like this, just come out and knock it down. Sing your song, and that beat grabs you, and she's just absolutely crushing it. The way when you hear a really good hip-hop beat, and then the guy comes on, the minute he starts rhyming, you go yes, or you go no. Right in your head, just by either he's got that or no, that doesn't match. And she just comes out right from the start of that song and blows you away. And all you're worried about is how that song, it's almost like you listen to it with your eyes closed, you feel it, and you're not worried about what the singer looks like, what label they're on, what's the name of the band, and you're just vibing with that song. And she absolutely takes you on a journey. It's one of my top 5 90 songs of all time.
Nice. Well, what are you going to go back to back with on that one?
I don't think that you've left me a choice, to be honest with you. If we're going to take the gloves off, I have to go with what I personally believe is the greatest dance track for the entire decade.
Oh, you're going right here, right at track 5.
I'm going right here, right now. We're right about the middle of the first side. Party's heating up. It's time to drop this on the party and just have everybody go nuts. You could save it for the end. I like to give them a little shot of adrenaline right in the middle. This song has been remixed 2011 times. Right? Everybody has a version of it that they want to make because it's just so good. And you just talked about Whitney-esque with the voice from CeCe Peniston. This woman starts this song off with an undeniable and instantly recognizable long note. I'm talking about the one and only Show Me Love by Robin S.
There you go.
It hit number 5 on Billboard in 1993. It was released in 90 in the UK, came over here about 2.5 years later. Hot Dance Tracks, it went to number 1. And I believe on that list from VH1, it was like 65 for best dance songs ever, which just somebody should be fired over there. That's all. But other than that, this is a hit. I play this today when I do clubs or weddings, and there is not a single person that's not on the dance floor or if they're sitting at their table, they lean their head back and start singing along with it and shaking their head because it's infectious. To me, like I said, it's the greatest dance song in the 90s, hands down.
Rolling Stone almost agrees with you because they listed it as number 9 on their 200 greatest dance songs of all time. So, I mean, that's bringing in your entire 70s disco era into play, which there's a lot of great music from the funk and disco of the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Something else you and I have talked about doing on possibly a future episode, which I'm looking forward to. Billboard ranked it 170 on their best pop songs of all time. This is an absolute anthem, hands down, hard stop. Musically, again, I want to say that sonic atmosphere that this song brings. When you listen to this in your headphones, there is so much separation between the instruments. That bass line, you can kind of feel it pulsating in your chest, but it never overpowers the song and it never overpowers her vocals. It's almost the perfect yin and yang with her voice in the upper register with that bass that really drives it. And I think I know exactly where I'm going to go out of this, because we've got such a vibe going. I know what I want, and I want it now. We're going to Culture Beat, and we're going to go Mr. Vain. This was another one that was absolutely massive. Reached number 17 on the US Billboard Hot 100. And BuzzFeed ranks this number 17 in their 101 greatest dance songs of the 90s. I think that's actually a little low, in my opinion. Mr. Vain was one of those songs that had such a crossover appeal. It has that same type of vibe that we've strung together, I'll say all the way back from Elias and Follow Me. It's this pulsating rhythm that goes through all these songs, but sonically, there's so much music happening in these tracks. It's almost a vibe that is ethereal mixed with something you're dancing to between the 6 tracks we have so far. So following up Show Me Love, obviously you said it's Show Me Love is your favorite dance song of all time. I'd be curious to see where Mr. Vain hits for you.
Mr. Vain is up there. It's an instant yes. When you hear it, you know, even if you don't like the song, which I can't picture because it's a pretty cool dance song, especially if you grew up around that time and that was kind of your vibe. But even if you didn't like the song, you could understand why whoever played it, or why somebody's like, this is the song I would play right now to dance to, or this is the song I want to dance to right now. It's one of those songs that, when people think of traditional songs, it's 3 verses, chorus in the middle of the verses, and it's structured the way that it's structured. You would just logically imagine if I just heard somebody kind of repeat the same thing, with a little bit of a change here and there, it's just going to get old and boring. It's like, no, this songs like this, they can hit you with a beat that drives as well as something like theirs does. Hit you with a great hook, sung well, and then throw in those little bit of runs that they do with the other one. And, you're not so much concerned lyrically with it, as long as it's kind of like the Kurt Cobain effect, I call it, because he used to say melody drives the song over lyrics. And it's evident in his lyrics. Even the way he would write would be, he would get, I want my voice to sound, and he'd go, okay, now what words fit that pattern of melody? That was his process. It wasn't, hey, this is what I want to say, and then how am I going to say it? It was actually reversed. These guys come out and they embody that. Let me find the heart and soul of the song, blast it out, make that the hook, and then, we'll fill in the gaps later and just kind of almost like dressing on the side. We're going to kind of, help it push what the original intent of the song was. And Mr. Vain does that wonderfully. It's a super cool song, man. It's a lot of fun to play, and it's definitely gets a reaction every time you pop it up.
All right, so when that's done, what are you coming out of that with?
Give me a tough one here, man. Tough one. Let me see. Okay. So many that should make the list, and it's a travesty to keep some of these off there. But I am going to go with something that had huge commercial success, huge crossover success, huge international success, and had people speaking a language that they did not even know. My next pick CNC Music Factory, Boricua's Anthem.
Oh, okay.
Song came out 94. It was a 9-minute song, which we couldn't know. It always went too fast just because it was so much fun. You didn't want it to end. There's actually a 20-minute version as well. It's a little different, but it's still a good track. And when this song came out, you can watch an entire club stop on a dime. So everybody's sweating, rocking back and forth. The music's going, and all of a sudden, and you hear that saxophone go off. Forget it. The moment that goes off, and the guy starts talking, he almost welcomes you to the song officially, and it just, everybody singing, even if you didn't know how to speak Spanish, you were faking it, right? Just to sing along with the song. And it goes a little bit of Latin, a little bit of club, it feels like upbeat, almost like a techno reggae vibe to it. It goes all over the map, and everywhere it goes, it does it right. It rocks. It's a huge party song, and I can't see having a 90s list without it on it.
Can we just talk about how Robert Cribalese and David Cole are probably two of the premier dance producers of the decade, between Gonna Make You Sweat, which Patreon mixtaper Chad LaMassa chimed in with. You had Here We Go, Things That Make You Go, A couple of years later, you had Do You Want to Get Funky? Then you go into the Boricuas Anthem. They got you through the whole decade, and they always evolved their sound to be modern at any given time. Throughout the whole decade, they never got themselves dated in any way, shape, or form. That's very hard to do in the club scene, because that club vibe was not the same in 1999 as it was in 1990. It evolved throughout the whole decade, and these guys evolved with it.
Well, that's a big thing about the music. It was very progressive very quickly because it was brand new. The closest thing you had to it was disco,
right?
And then people started to kind of do their own take on things. And, you could tell the young music, still quality music, but you could tell, like, that's the reason it broke through, was because it was quality. But you can absolutely see the growth. I mean, you see what's going on now with Calvin Harris or Steve Aoki, people like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, I like to think of it like this. The way our technology ran from when we were a kid was amazing, because we got in the car as children, and our parents some of them had 8 tracks for their cassette player in their cars, or our grandparents did. And then we had cassette players. Then all of a sudden we had CDs. And now I'm walking around with my phone in my pocket and can listen to any song on the planet anytime I want with the push of a button. And that all happened within 30 years. Quick little run, So to watch music go from being disco to what you see now, and these international DJs and a lot of, EDM music, even things like that, it's evolved so quickly. And they're a big reason why they push the envelope with the stuff that they do. They've stayed true to themselves, but also they still have shown growth and evolution in their music. So, not to be a one-trick pony or whatever it may be. They weren't pigeonholed by any means. And I truly believe they can make pretty much any kind of song they want and make it well.
Well, this is actually, had you gone with Gonna Make You Sweat, it would have been real easy to continue that club vibe. But the Boricuas Anthem gives me a little bit of room to bounce off here. And I have a weird one that I think following it up might actually work.
Let's hear it.
Because the first 10 or 15 seconds of this song, I don't know why, but I actually hear it working, because the opening of this song almost has a Spanish vibe for about the first 10 seconds. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
I know exactly where you're going. It's a great song.
Ooh. And then one of the greatest bass lines of all time from 1990s World Click. We're going to go with Deee-Lite, Groove is in the Heart. This is probably one of my favorite dance songs of all time, because it was modern in 1990, but it was also a throwback to the 1970s. And there were elements of it that felt forward-thinking musically. This is a track that features Parliament Funkadelic's Bootsy Collins and A Tribe Called Quest's Q-Tip over a 70s disco funk anthem. Q Magazine ranked this song number 323 of their 1001 best songs ever. VH1 ranked it number 56 in their 100 greatest songs of the 90s, and BuzzFeed ranked this number 3 in their 100 greatest dance songs of the 90s. It was a top 10 hit, reached number 4, obviously destroyed the dance club songs chart. But more than any of that, Groove is in the Heart feels modern now, 34 years later. Last year, Blues Traveler, who Tad Kinchler was on this past October on the show, they covered this song and they did a killer job on it, but the original's always going to hold a special place musically in my heart. And I think this might have been the only time tonight that I could put this in and have it actually make sense, because this is not really the club dance that we've had. And I don't think this song would have worked out of any song on side A until now. Deee-Lite's Groove is in the Heart.
Great song. It's an absolute home run from the moment you hear it. Like you said, it's got so many different elements. I mean, Q-Tip is in there. It's its own vibe. And it's unlike most songs. It's completely original. And I'm in awe of how they come up with it. And so many different people from so many different walks kind of collaborating on it. It smashes right off the bat. And to watch them click musically like that is what makes it's a must play. It's a must play. And I think it's a fantastic pick for the song.
So you got one song left for side A. What are you going with?
All right. If I'm going to follow up Groove is in the Heart, I'm going to take it into a little different vibe, very similar, but to kind of feed off and transition. I'm going to go with a song that just recently has a killer remix done. And I'm going to choose Fatboy Slim's Praise You Like I Should. This song has two mixes that I think are phenomenal. The Purple Disco Machine mix is out of this world good. And I believe Rita Ora just recently did her own version, which was just very, very cool. Super current. But this song came out in 1999. It reached number 1 in UK and in Iceland. It was number 4 in Canada, number 6 in Ireland, 36 in the States. Also, shout out to my boy Gomez. It was used in a movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. But Cruel Intentions had it on the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very, very cool song. And, you know, Fatboy Slim just does some really, really cool things with his music. It's, you know, a style that kind of announces itself. He is instantly recognizable by his songs, which is what I was alluding to earlier when I said sometimes DJs or artists, you know, in this genre had a harder time distinguishing themselves to people who were not in the scene, as opposed to, you know, going to see two separate bands, and you can easily see the difference between, you know, Guns N' Roses and Metallica when they're on stage. So my pick, Praise You Like I Should, Fatboy Slim.
Absolutely love this song. This was another one that had a ridiculous crossover appeal. And I think that has to do with the MTV aspect of it, because the video was popular and it was getting rotated in with all the stuff that was happening around 99, kind of the start of the new metal thing, the Limp Bizkit, the TRL, that whole movement. They were getting lumped in with Backstreet Boys and Lit and all these other bands that were kind of part of that TRL scene, Moby. You had a lot of different things happening there. And this song really crossed over in a lot of different ways. Kind of the jam band scene picked it up a little bit. It got picked up almost in a rock vibe, and then obviously in clubs, and then on pop and top 40 radio. So love the pick. And to close out side A, I am going to record scratch, do a hard pivot from Praise You, because I am thinking, because I start off side B, I want to close with something that is personally special to me, and then start with something on side B that's kind of following that vibe.
What do you got?
So my pivot coming out of Praise You is a song that breaking the fourth wall here. Doug and I went to high school together, and we played on the same high school football team for St. Mary's in Rutherford. And this song is very special for me because this was the song that after every single victory, we would turn on in the locker room. And to me, there's no way better to close out the side than from 1993's Swing Bada Swing, K7's Come Baby Come, reached number 18 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. It was very important to our area because we're right in Rutherford, New Jersey, and the music video for this was filmed right down the street in Jersey City. BuzzFeed ranked this number 61 on their 100 Greatest Dance Songs of the 90s. I disagree. I think it should be much higher. And yeah, there's a little bit of a nostalgic element to this song for me because of the connection we had in the locker room after a big victory, having this on. I just have very happy memories of this tune. But at the end of the day, it's still a killer dance song. I know it brings a little bit of hip hop to it, but it's not enough to make it a pure hip hop song. This is a dance jam that has also crossed over into sports anthems and jock jams and all the other stuff as well.
This is a great pick. It's one of those songs, like you said, has the crossover appeal, but that doesn't change the kind of song it is just because somebody finds a different application for it. You know, it's a song that the girls love to dance to. It's a song that the guys like to listen to and dance to too. So that's kind of when you know it's a hit is when everybody can kind of latch onto it, no matter who you are. And this is one of those for sure. Song was a home run. First time you heard it, you knew it was going to be a hit, and it was. So I like your pick. Great way to close the side.
Well, that Mixtapers concludes Side A of our 90s club and dance anthems playlist, which consists of Elias, Follow Me, Snap's Rhythm is a Dancer, Crystal Waters' 100% Pure Love, CeCe Peniston's Finally, Robin S.'s Show Me Love, Culture Beats' Mr. Vane,
C&C Music Factory's Boricua Anthem,
Deee-Lite's Groove is in the Heart, Fatboy Slim's Praise You, and K7's Come Baby Come. Head over to myweeklymixtape.com to hear all the songs we've discussed in this mix through the playlist embedded on the episode page. And now I get the pleasure of kicking off Side B. And like I said at the end of Side A, Come Baby Come has this little bit of a harder vibe to it. I don't want to say it's necessarily hip-hop, but it definitely brings that element into the song. And to start off Side B, I'm going to use a track that blends hip-hop, swing, and R&B with a just infectious dance mentality to the song. Probably one of the biggest songs in the New Jack Swing movement. This song reached number 3 on the Billboard US Hot 100. I'm actually shocked it wasn't number 1. And I want to use this to start off Side B because within a second and a half, most people will recognize the song. And it's just from 9 snare hits and a stinger. And you know exactly what song you're listening to. Da 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 pa. Bell Biv DeVoe's Poison from 1990. Starting off early. Yes, it's not a club song, but we're doing club and dance. And this is an absolute dance anthem that gets everybody on the floor and everybody is singing along with this at the top of their lungs.
I think it's a great pick. How can you not have it on the 90? I mean, you can literally find a way to squeeze this into almost every 90s playlist that you have. People who are strictly rock fans recognize the song. I actually watched a video just the other day. It's a great video. These 2 young kids sit there and film themselves listening to music from the 90s that they've never heard before. And this was a video, ironically, that I just saw maybe 2 days ago. And their face just scrunches up. The moment, girl, I must warn you. They go, ooh. and then when he hits the, it's driving me out of my mind, and the high note, the song just goes different places. They absolutely smash it on every single part. You cannot sit still during this song. This song plays today regularly, and I get a huge reaction every single time. Like you said, they don't even have to hear the first note from sitting and they just recognize the intro immediately. And you see people get up and come back to the floor, even if they were tired from the last song and then I got to go get a drink. You know what? I'll get a drink in 3 minutes. Hold on. And they turn around and they come back out for that one. And it's a great way to kick off the second half of this album.
I don't think I've ever been to a wedding reception where this song wasn't played. And I don't think I've ever seen this song not go over like one of the biggest songs of the night.
Yeah, everybody loves it.
Even people at my wedding, when this song played, aunts and uncles and my grandparents, everybody had their head moving because there was such a soulfulness to the song, the vocal delivery. People that were into Motown in the 70s could feel that vibe coming off it. People that grew up when that song hit, like us, were definitely hitting the nostalgia factor hard. And then the younger kids respect this because of the fact that there's longevity to it.
I agree. It's a home run song, so I think it's a perfect pick. And now you're going to have to make me rethink my order here for a second. Let's see here. Okay, I know where I'm going. So if I'm going to follow up Poison, I'm going to pivot it a little bit from what my list was. My second half of the album is going to be geared more towards stuff that you would hear in like New York City nightclubs or deep house cuts. But there's a song that is so good and it pivots so well off Poison, I think, that I cannot drop this one in there. So if you're going to go with Poison to start the second part of the album, I'm going to follow you up with 1990 smash hit by Technotronic, Pump Up the Jam.
Yes.
Pump Up the Jam has been known as to be like kind of a fusion song between hip hop and deep house. It's got a little bit of the elements, like you said, almost the way K7 does, but at the same time, that beat is just completely on the house vibe, and it's one of those ones where everybody knows the hook. People that don't know the song well or don't listen to that kind of music know this song. And Pump Up the Jam is a smash hit that was, I think it went to in the top 30, I want to say.
Well, Pump Up the Jam hit number 2 on the Billboard US Hot 100.
Oh, I meant 100 best dance songs of all time.
Yeah.
I think it was like number 30 or number 40, something like that for Slam Magazine.
Yeah, number 40.
Yeah, it was. It's just a great song. And, you know, if I'm going to follow up Poison, I got to keep him on the dance floor. So that's where I'm going. Pump Up the Jam, Technotronic.
And this is one that was a slow burn for popularity. It was actually released in 1989. In August, did not hit number 2, like I had mentioned, for the Billboard charts until 1990. It took 6 months for this song to catch on. And once it did, though,
wildfire.
That was it. It was over because then they followed it up with Get Up Before the Night Is Over, and they just took over. And most people think of this song as a 90s dance anthem, and it is 100%. But it actually has a little asterisk on it because it was released technically at the end of the 80s, and you could include this track on an 80s greatest club and dance anthems as well, because it technically was released then, but didn't hit the top of the charts until the next decade.
Yeah, it's one of those songs where, I mean, think about one of the earlier ones, like we said, Finally, or Show Me Love.
Mm-hmm.
When I play Show Me Love now, club or wedding, everybody digs it. Doesn't matter if they're young, if they're old, if they're in the middle. It just carries, it sounds new, you know, to whoever hears it. It's an undeniable song. This is the same way. If you played it with 80s songs, it makes sense. But if you played it with a 90s dance tape, it makes sense. And if you play it now, people are like, oh, that's kind of, that's cool. I vibe with that. And they jump right on it. It's a song that transitions. And at a very specific time, like you said, too, right there at the cusp of 89, 90, it helped, I think, transition the vibe into house music a little bit more, making it popular.
I actually think I'm going to try something here. And I don't know how well this is going to go over, but believe it or not, we have a playlist that's kind of doubling as a dance club anthems / stadium anthems, because both Poison and Pump Up the Jam are stadium anthems. So if I'm going to touch on that a little bit, but stay with kind of keeping that energy up, I think we got to drop a little bit of the 900 number in a sample and go up to 1996, DJ Kool, Let Me Clear My Throat. sampling both Kool and the Gang's Hollywood Swinging and, like I said, the 45 Kings 900 number, which anyone who grew up with Yo MTV Raps refers to as the Ed Lover dance. This song shockingly only reached number 30 on the Billboard US Hot 100, but because of the endless use in sports, I know the Buffalo Sabres use it as their official goal song, wedding receptions, and everything else. The version that most people are fans of was recorded live in Philadelphia. So I guess for our area in New Jersey, it almost is like a hometown anthem. Even though Philly is over the river, we still really embraced this song to another level around here. It was all love. So DJ Kool, Let Me Clear My Throat.
That's a smash. I play that whenever I DJ the tailgates, because obviously the sports crossover. I play that during throwback sets, whether I'm doing a wedding or at a club, something like that. It's a killer song. And like you said, it's actually unique in the way that the live version is the preferred version.
Yeah. Think about how many live dance tracks are there with an audience. Like, this might be it. At least I know it's it on my phone. I don't know about you, but
yeah. And you know what? It's kind of weird because it transports you. It makes you feel like you're there. It's a sing-along, basically. You're literally following his direction and shouting back at him along with everybody else that's on the track, and at your party itself. Great way to kick off this second party album. I think it's a good choice.
All right. Well, what are you coming out of Poison, Pump Up the Jam, and Let Me Clear My Throat with?
I'm going to piggyback the vibe, or at least the theme. We're going to stick with songs that do that crossover that get so big. People use them for stadium songs. People use them for sports. I remember this in the club. This was, more of a techno kind of hit, but it had so much appeal, crossed over. I remember late nights in clubs that I was too young to be in. And maybe there's some enhancements floating around and somebody plays a song like this that you've never heard before. And the whole crowd starts chanting. And you're like, what is going on here? I'm talking about Kernkraft 400, a.k.a. Zombie Nation. When that song drops, I mean, you hear it all over soccer stadiums, all over football stadiums. You hear it everywhere you go. And when you're in a club with the lights out on this late night and and everybody just starts chanting along with it. It gets louder and louder. The song builds. The track is a great building track. It's actually sampled from a Commodore 64 game called Lazy Jones, which I had no idea. But I cannot and will not attempt to pronounce the name of the album that it's on, because it's by a German artist, and it's like 36 consonants and one U in the middle. So I have no idea how to pronounce that. But I'm going to go with Zombie Nation.
Dude, I literally am smacking myself right now because not a minute ago, I was sitting there saying, Let Me Clear My Throat might be the only live dance song maybe ever, or definitely on my phone. And then you go and drop another one. I'm like, shit, because there's the live remix that was in the movie Elemental. There's the live remix in that. And yeah, that's on my phone as well. So I completely put my foot in my mouth with that. But what a perfect song to come out of Let Me Clear My Throat, because you feel that live energy in this song when the crowd is singing along, where it almost blurs the line of, is that coming from the speakers or is it coming from the room? And you become part of the song. When everyone sings along with it at a stadium, you don't know what part of that is the actual recording and what part of that's the atmosphere you're in. So I friggin' love this pick. And I got to give a shout out to my good college buddy, Frank the Tank Fleming, episode 11, the ultimate sports and stadium anthems. He dropped this one for sure. Barstool Sports, he's been doing a walking program for the last 6 months. He's dropped a ridiculous amount of weight.
Way to go, brother.
So happy to see it. So hopefully he's cranking this when he's doing it. This song is so friggin' killer. And look, I immediately want to go back and recut that whole part about Let Me Clear My Throat because I totally botched it. And you found the perfect song to come out of it. And I don't even have to hesitate with what I'm coming out of Zombie Nation with.
What do we got?
because Zombie Nation has a little bit of a rock attitude to it. And I think if you're going to talk about 90s dance music and bring a little bit of a rock attitude that really crosses the line into that stadium anthem club or a rock venue, it doesn't get any better than 1997's The Fat of the Land. And I'm going with Prodigy's Firestarter. This keeps things danceable, but it brings the heft to it. And this song reached number 30 on the Billboard US Hot 100. And Rolling Stone ranked it 110 on their 200 greatest dance songs of all time. This one just slays. Papa Roach covered this song when I saw them last year open for Shinedown, and they dedicated it to Keith Flint, who was such a unique talent, and it sucks that he's no longer with us. And this song is heavy. I have rocked this song on dance playlists, on workout mixes, and I've put it on metal mixes because it just fits that vibe. There's such a crossover appeal to it that you could dance to it and start a mosh pit at the same time. And coming out of Zombie Nation, I feel like that's the energy. That's where this is going.
Cool pick. You know, it's the other side of the coin from K7. You know, you have a song that is a dance song, but has that hip hop influence, and you can tell that it's on there. This, like you said, has more of a metal influence and can be played in different playlists, like you said, whether it's a metal playlist or whether it's a Anthems playlist or whether it's a dance playlist, whatever it may be. Seeing them able to take their version of dance and turn it a little bit harder, I guess, but make it palatable to where people, want to hear it no matter what the vibe is. I think it's a great pick and a huge song. Huge song. I remember the guy's funny haircut still from the video.
Yeah. So what are you following up with on this kind of club / stadium anthem / dance vibe we got going here?
Okay, so I'm going to go with one that plays in stadiums, but was not designed to at all. It is the first track, I believe, on this entire playlist that does not have any vocals.
Nice.
Okay, this is a song by a Finnish DJ called Darude from 1999. The original mix was 7 minutes long. The radio version is like 3:45. But I'm going to go with Sandstorm. Now, when this song would drop in the club, it was new for me because, like I said, I'm used to songs with lyrics. So how can you just play me an instrumental and I'm supposed to like it? It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. It's never going to work. Why would anybody do that? And then you're in the club and this song comes on and it just takes you on a journey. And you're rocking with it. It builds when the drop comes in and it's just going. It's an entire vibe unto itself. And I can't picture having a 90s dance song without having Sandstorm on there.
Love the tune. Reached number 83 on the Billboard US Hot 100. So believe it or not, this might be one of those instances where people are sitting there going, this doesn't sound familiar. When you hear the song, it's one of those, oh,
that's the name of that song.
That's exactly right.
That's the other thing that people, had to contend with back, when we were hitting the clubs, is we didn't have Shazam. And when you're in the limelight or you're in Sound Factory, you know how hard it is to get over to the DJ? I'd be like, hey, what are you playing right now?
Yeah. And if you're listening on the radio, you have to wait for the DJ to hopefully talk back up what you just heard.
If they even and so you used to have to find out who it was, and then you used to have to go to the record store and get it on vinyl. And this is one of those songs that I absolutely did that for because it was such a good hit.
It is. It's great. And the instrumental vibe to it, I'm intrigued. And I think I know what I'm going to come out of it with. I think we're going to stay instrumental for a little bit before we take it home. And I'm going to go with an Italian composer that dropped this song in 1996. And the first time I heard it, I was mesmerized. I talked a little bit about side A, about the separation and the dynamics in the music. And to me, this is one of those songs that just blows my mind from a musical standpoint because there's so much happening and it's so big and you can listen to so many different instruments. You can get lost in this song like it's a movie happening without any vocals. And the album is called Dreamland. The artist is Robert Miles, and the song is Children. It was one of the pillars of this vibe that was called Dreamhouse EDM, which involves these beautiful piano melodies over that 4-on-the-floor bass drum beat that I talked about on side A. It reached number 1 in 12 different countries and hit number 21 on the Billboard US Hot 100. And again, it topped the Dance Club Songs chart. Just like Sandstorm, there are people that are going, the hell song are you talking about? And when you go to the playlist at myweeklymixtape.com and you listen to it, you're going to go, oh, I know both Sandstorm and Children because those two songs are very memorable instrumentals that a lot of people just, there's not that Zombie Nation moment where you could sit there and go, oh, and everyone knows what you're talking about. These are a little bit different. You actually have to hum out the piano in Children, which sounds a little bit more ridiculous trying to do.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt it, but it's an amazing song. This is a song that, obviously you can use it in movies. It's an emotion invoking in a huge way. You can't help but kind of pause when you hear it, because it comes on and it's just so ethereal. Like you said, it's out there and it transports you to this place where all you are is you and you're surrounded by that sound, and that music is kind of dictating where you're going on your little trip. But it's a fantastic song. And again, it defies the logic of you need to have a vocal or lyrics or whatever it may be in your song to make it a hit, which you clearly do not.
And is it weird for me to say that this song makes me both want to get up and dance and relaxes me simultaneously?
That's the beauty of it, is it's so full of emotion and vibe that you can literally take it any direction you want. The song can make you sit there and get reflective, and start to, feel emotional. It can also make you so relaxed because it's just musically beautiful. And then also it can, be a happy, uplifting kind of moment at the same time. It all depends. Whatever you need it to be, it can be. And that's a beautiful song, and a great job to be able to do that because not many songs can.
Yeah, it's a stroke of genius musically. So what are you going to follow up our 1-2 punch of instrumentals with? Are we going to introduce the vocals for the close here?
Okay. I got 2 left. I'm going to ease back into the vocals to kind of set up my final play for the last song. So this next song came out 1992, but in 1995, it went international. It's by a Scottish group called Nightcrawlers. And this song is another one of those songs where somebody's going to have to go, oh, that's the name of that song. When they hear it, they probably won't know it, most people at least by name. But this is called Push the Feeling On. It's rooted in jazz and disco, okay? It has a very, very catchy vibe. And the horns of this, the sounds, I believe it's saxophone. You're going to be a big fan of too. I know that because I know you like your saxophone songs. They absolutely crushed this, and it's one of those songs where the minute you hear the beat and the way the tone goes, I think of these as kind of like the hook for the song, even though it's not necessarily the hook or the chorus as you would think from like a band. But when you hear that, because everybody will go, what's that song that goes, that's the part that sticks with them immediately. That's one of these songs, and it's a killer track. I think it plays, well, even today. So Push the Feeling On by Nightcrawlers is my next pick.
Once again, this is a Hot 100 hit. It hit number 80, reached number 7 on the Hot Dance Club play charts. So I think this was much bigger in the club than it might have been on radio. But once, like you said, once you hear it, it's, oh my God, why do I remember this one? It was all over radio for a hot minute, but unfortunately didn't have a ton of staying power on the radio, but it did in the club. And I think it's a great pick coming out of Children because if you went and did a ridiculously hard pivot into something, say, like Quad City DJs, Come and Ride the Train, coming out of Children, it would have just felt odd. Like, you got to ease your way out of Children because it was so emotional.
Can't do the Tootsie Roll after you listen to Choke.
Exactly. Those type of that deep South bass with the kind of the sexualized lyrics coming out of something so emotional, it would have been too much of a pivot. So I love the concept with going with Nightcrawlers here. And I actually think there's only one song that I have left in my bank that'll really speak well, because you mentioned the saxophone. This one, it's not necessarily in that vibe, but I think coming out of it, at least from everything else that I have, because I have a lot of more of that club feel, like LaBouche, Be My Lover. I could have brought Cher's Believe into the fold because of the introduction of auto-tune.
Huge record.
Obviously, you got Aqua's Barbie Girl, you got Two Unlimited, No Limit. But I think coming out of Nightcrawlers, the way I want to go is off of 1999 Synchronized, and we're going to bring some British funk into this. Let's have some Jamiroquai and Canned Heat. This reached number 1 on the dance club chart, never cracked the top 100, but to me is one of those songs that has such a unique, timeless energy to it. And it's definitely one towards the end of this mix that people are going to go, oh my God, I can't believe we're hearing this. And I think that's the same vibe they get from Push the Feeling On. I feel like coming out of the instrumental segment we did, Nightcrawlers, Jamiroquai, I think there's a vibe going here.
Yeah, it's a great song, great album. He's got his own little lane that he carved out for himself. And it's just, like they say, it's a vibe, and he embodies it fully. He can do it on the lighter jazz side. He can do it on the dance side. And this was one of his best songs. I think it was a great choice. Definitely a party goer, and definitely a party maker. So I like the pick.
Well, closing out the evening, man, you got no small challenge here. What are we closing this up with?
It's got to be fireworks, right? It's got to be a home run. So if it has to be that, I'm going to go with a song that does it all. Give me a song that gets you going emotionally. Hit you right in the heart. Give me a song that's got power vocals. And I think this is probably the best to ever do it, power vocal wise. Give me a song that's new, that breaks a barrier, that does something that, people have not been doing yet. But give me a song that also gives you that nostalgic feel at the same time. There's not many songs that do this. This one did it perfectly. Monster hit, return to form. And I'm talking about legendary DJ Jonathan Peters and his remix, Whitney Houston, My Love Is Your Love. When that song dropped in 99, people had not heard it done that way before. My Love Is Your Love is a slow burn, reggae-influenced song. And it's absolutely gorgeous in that version. I love that slow, sexy vibe by Whitney. They called it the triumphant return to form when she dropped it. It's just got a super, super cool Bob Marley-esque kind of just heartfelt vibe to it. Jonathan Peters took this song, put it in the biggest nightclubs in New York City, put a dance track behind it, but saved the emotion of the song at the same time. A lot of songs that fall into this format of a remix are done. I don't want to criticize music, but I don't want to say, without heart, but it's basically take the lyrics or the vocals, adjust the beat per minute, and put a doom, 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 doom behind it, and just a fast version, but without the distortion, so it doesn't sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks. And that's basically the song. And this was nothing like that. He has drops where he just lets the vocals do the work, little tiny instruments in the background. Then he brings the beat in hard. The bass drops. It's the perfect club song. It's signed by the Queen. So I can't think of a better way to end the album than 1999's My Love Is Your Love.
Bomb drop. Love the pick. Love the song. Love that we got Whitney into this fold, because I mean, we talked about a lot of great female singers, especially alongside A, but Whitney's the queen of all of them. I mean, in the 90s, I know Mariah was the voice of the 90s, but Whitney just took it to another level. Always took it to another level. And I like that you bring up the fact that there was this moment in the 90s where it seemed like every song had a club or dance remix. I vividly remember seeing a cassette single of One Headlight by the Wallflowers done in dance form. I vividly remember the smash hit that Nikki French had, Total Eclipse of the Heart, where she took Bonnie Tyler's song and just kind of sped it up and made. I think hers was a little better than the example you gave.
Yeah, that was a good version. That
was good. But there were other songs, like you said, that took a slow song and just
put it at 128 beats per minute.
Yeah, and then just sped it up, and it felt almost soulless. This has the soul. It has the energy. You feel the song still, but it's a completely different song. You could listen to the two versions back to back and
nothing like
you're listening to two different artists. He did such an amazing job on this remix. It's an exclamation point at the end of this side. I love it. And there you have it, folks. Side B of our Ultimate 90s Club and Dance Anthems playlist, which kicked off with Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison, Technotronic's Pump Up the Jam, DJ Kool's Let Me Clear My Throat, Kernkraft 400's Zombie Nation, Prodigy's Firestarter, Darude's Sandstorm, Robert Miles' Children, Nightcrawlers' Push the Feeling On, Jamiroquai's Canned Heat, and Whitney Houston's My Love Is Your Love, Jonathan Peters remix. Head over to myweeklymixtape.com to hear all the songs we've discussed in this mix through the playlist embedded on the episode page. Now, Doug, why don't you let people know where they can learn more about you and get in touch with you on social media, find out more about Elite Sound Entertainment, and maybe bring you on to take care of their next event?
Hey, let us know. Elite Sound Entertainment. We're based out of Saddlebrook, New Jersey. New Jersey's premier DJ service. We got everything and anything you need, from simple stripped down music for the lovers to all the bells and whistles for the biggest party of your life. So let us know what you need. We'll make sure we make it happen for you. Come see me, ask for Doug, and if you mention that you heard us on My Weekly Mixtape, I'll make sure I take care of you with an extra discount.
Well, dude, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, man.
Thanks. Love being here, guys. Enjoy the playlist. Can't wait to see what you guys think.
And remember, Mixtapers, you can find My Weekly Mixtape on almost all the social media haunts at My Weekly Mixtape. You can also head to myweeklymixtape.com to check out the full catalog of My Weekly Mixtape episodes. And if you like what you're hearing on the show, you can help me out by either telling a friend, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a Patreon Mixtaper at patreon.com/My Weekly Mixtape. There you can enjoy ad-free episodes of the show, become a future guest, and so much more. That's all for this week. Thanks again for listening. And until next time, enjoy the tunes.